we're talking to you really as a councillor, but also as a local business person. You must be very aware of the strain, that's an understatement, isn't it, that has been put on businesses by this appalling pandemic. How have you felt that?
Well, yeah, it's been, let's say, it has been an interesting and challenging year, and being a sort of a business owner or a partner in a business, director, at our office that we share with many other companies. It's like a managed workspace, and we've seen the effect there. We've seen the stresses and the strains of our neighbours in the building, and direct effect of the pandemic. So we've seen companies shrink, we've seen people being laid off, and it's been really devastating, to be honest. And we're just fortunate we managed to ride the wave a bit and get through it, because I think for every small business it has just been survival, trying to get out the other end, and like, it's been stressful for us. But I can't imagine for bigger companies with more people on their payroll, with employees, with families and lives, how the stress of trying to keep the company going, and so those people have got incomes, must have just been unbearable. But thankfully, we're a small company. We only started up in 2019, so it's been we managed to see it get to this point and still be here.
And how have you reacted to the help that has been handed out to businesses? So often it looks like sticking plasters, doesn't it? But is this for the long term, and what's going to happen eventually?
Well, what has been given out is have to give credit, I guess. It has saved a lot of companies, but it hasn't been sufficient. We all know about the excluded, those who have fallen through the cracks. There was some of the criteria on some of the funding, or did limit who it reached. For instance, if you didn't have a small business rates relief, or didn't have a business rates account number, you had to go and search for one. In those early days, the first early weeks, we were hearing lots of people, or our neighbours, and the owner of our office telling how he was getting people phoning him and crying on the phone to him because they couldn't find their business rates number. They didn't have it, and so they were running out of money by the end of the month. And it was a pretty bad situation. And but when it did come through, it has been a lifesaver. But it wasn't enough. There was so many small businesses, self-employed people, as we know, that have missed out. And I think the government could have done a lot better. It did something, but it didn't do everything. So there's still a lot that could have been done and still can be done. And
as a ward councillor, have you heard from constituents about their particular stories?
Well, we've had a few, yeah. I mean, we've also got some businesses in Beverley Newland ward, so Newland Avenue area, but been drastically affected by all the closures in the hospitality industry. We haven't had direct casework coming towards us, but we've heard stories, people like nightclubs, Piper and places like that, but all the small bars and restaurants are really struggling, just to, like I said, to get through. So it has been pretty hard, and you just can't imagine, all the stress that these people are going through. And Charles, Cracknell's Department in Youth Enterprise is trying to help locally as well. Of course, we deal mainly with young people who are either starting from scratch or have been set up and are now struggling. How important is it, do you think, to help the youth of today and the businesses of tomorrow? It's essential, isn't it? Because these people that Charles is working with, and since I've become a councillor in 2018, I've learned what his team does and really try to support it. And I think they do a fantastic job, because Hull has got one of the lowest entrepreneurial rates in the country. So if we're having to result of this pandemic is that we lose businesses and lose industries. These people that Charles and his team are bringing through are the next wave of entrepreneurs, the next local businesses, and who are going to hopefully some of them go big, but just be successful and employ people and make the city a more improve the economy of the city. So it's really important that they get a little bit of seed funding that Charles and the bank, his bank does, get them going, get them off the ground, and then the support they give. So because you can't always, I think, well, even I've learned, and you're still learning, that you don't ever get it right first time. And I think what Charles, from speaking with him and the teams, they help people to take that risk and not be fear of if they fail, because it's that ability to bounce back if things go bad, and that confidence to try again. I think that's what I think his team help is instill in the people they work with, which is really important, because I think we need to be, if we're going to be entrepreneurial, you've got to have that bit of risk taking, and I think in this country we probably lack a bit of that. We need to be a bit more like the United States in that sense, and get behind people, let them take a risk, take a chance. But if they fail, don't point a finger at them. You need to help them back on their feet and get them going again, because what they would have learned from anything that any hard times like this or from a failure will be invaluable, and they'll come back around second time again and be stronger and better for it. So it's good to have Charles there just to support, and his team to support these businesses and help them grow and progress. And
it's not as though the council have suddenly encountered COVID and started helping businesses. They're helping businesses all the time, aren't they? So, I mean, it's valuable to have, very valuable, and important to have that operation in place throughout.
Yeah. I mean, before COVID, there was different grants and things that are available from the council, help administer and give out through the LEP and other agencies. So yeah, it's definitely important to have local authority helping get businesses off the ground and grow, because these are going to be people who are going to employ more people in the future, and hopefully that money will stay in the local economy. So it's in the council's best interest to try and create an entrepreneurial city, and not rely. And it's important to have big industries as big employers, but not just to rely on that, but to have a strong, resilient city that is made up of many different companies and small businesses.
And you touched on this earlier. What do you think we should learn from this crisis? Because hopefully it isn't going on forever, and that maybe we can take something positive away from it.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's I'd like to see closer integration, I think, between the council and the business community, in terms of, it would be great for the council to be out there working maybe amongst the small businesses, like so they can get closer to the action. Because I think the message coming that I get from small business owners is that the council would go almost like an ivory tower, and so it would be great to see the council's business support team maybe working in a shared office space like we are, so then they're next door to all these small businesses, so they can really talk to these people more face to face and get a better have their finger on the pulse a bit more about what the conditions are, what the stresses are, what the problems and the challenges are. Because I think then you can be more responsive, because they want to help, and they've shown that, and they really want to help these small businesses succeed and ride out the hard times. But I think if you're closer to the action, then you're going to be quicker and more agile in getting that support out there and be able to do things quicker. So hopefully we'll learn about that might be something that comes out of this. I guess you can't get away from funding, I suppose. That's always, cash flow is king in business. So if you run out of cash, your business is over. So the more funding that the council, or streams of funding that the council can find for small businesses, will be really beneficial.
Can I ask you, of your hopes for the future, are you an optimist, a pessimist, Realist, a bit of both.
Optimist, always an optimist. It has been a year just to survive this year, but I think you always got to think, what have you learned from it, and what can you improve in your own business, and then also in your personal life as well. I think there's been big challenges for us all, and maybe we can reprioritize our lives and put the important things first. I think personal relationships and family, really important. And I think if you can sometimes, especially as a small business owner, you get them because you're always thinking every day, how am I going to make money? How am I going to make money? I'm going to pay the bills and I pay salaries, and it's all consuming. And then sometimes it's very easy to forget about your family and your loved ones and your close friends. And I think this time out has helped a lot of people reflect, and hopefully now we can small business owners can see the value in not neglecting that side of their life, and understanding that balance just right. You can't have it too much one way or the other, but getting that balance right will be really important. And so then people, the mental stresses and strains of being in business have a lesser impact going forward, and people can make sure they can disconnect when they have to.